mean, if they wanna pay the 200, then it seems like a
Like a
no-brainer
good
if you're willing to do it. Do we need motions on any of that stuff?
Not on the part that's telling us about it, but I would think if you're going to offer it,
So, first one, we have to make a motion to move the deposit return to township meetings only.
That's what we've done.
it's just,
Oh,
that's what it was done.
That's what you've always done, okay.
Mhm.
And then, I guess, cancel that. I make a motion to allow non-Douglas Township residents to rent the hall for $200 and $100 deposit.
And were you serious about the 40 for Holly, or was it different?
I would assume that.
I would say you would increase Holly, cause that means more times she's gonna come down here.
Yeah,
So when it's a
and-
non-resident, 200 per rental, and that's like a day, right?
Yeah, we only do one
Yeah,
part.
One party a day, $100 deposit dependent on condition, and $40 to the clerk for setting it up and overseeing.
I second that motion.
So we have a motion by Ken, second by Eric. Any other debate, discussion?
Just thought, who is it that can't do parties anymore, Winfield? Maybe I should contact them.
Hey, no, they're giving us business, don't worry about it.
I'm thinking voice vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the same. And that motion is carried. Gonna be rolling in the money.
I was gonna say, yeah, don't hold it too tight.
Maintenance cleaning. I was just wondering who does maintenance? Is it kind of,
Well, like the lawn care and that kind of stuff, Don Larson takes care of that stuff. If it's something to do with, you know, like the lights being changed and stuff, that one, oh, maybe those aren't on, that's why they're off. But somebody just jumps in and does it, yeah. We probably need salt and a softener right now, to come to think of it. So if somebody's here and they can throw salt and a softener, change light bulbs. I think we have extra light bulbs in the cleaning room. We just kinda all take part in that, so.
okay?
Okay.
Good for everybody? So nothing really to do with that.
Can you guys get, if there's something needs to be done, just let us know, or via email or
Yeah.
something like that.
And
Yeah.
I mean, like, with the help with softener salt, maybe if you guys can check it after the meeting, just to make sure that it's.
Okay.
Or if you see something that we can do or whatever. A lot of times I'm here on, like, the last day to pay your taxes is February 28th, and I don't have any people in here, so I'm changing the filters and doing all that kind of stuff.
Keep them busy.
Yeah.
Is that your required?
Yeah, I have to be here by law that day.
Okay. All right, on to utilities. Our now I know the answer to this. Our utility company is Tri-County, right? Right,
For electricity,
for electricity.
And no internet.
internet, which you'll have to cancel Cassair then?
Yeah.
And you're looking at possibly phones too, then, if we do internet phone.
Ah. We want phones.
Right now, we're using Frontier for phones. Well, we have phone and we have a fax line too. It does occasionally get used for, people requesting tax information, but not a lot, so.
I mean, isn't more scanned email now?
Can you scan the email for the copier? Okay. And then I know is it each year you discuss the propane? Is that the heat, is propane?
Yes. Yeah, usually in like, when do we usually get them at our houses, like August, July? Yeah, we'll get, what do I wanna say, get like contractual things from whoever. Propane, right now we have longs, and they actually were here today. And we stuck with longs because we have a credit with them. So, they put 459, I think that says 59, maybe it says 51.
No, yeah, no.
451.50 in today. They're charging us $215. And we have a credit balance of $1397.50, so, with longs, and that'll get us through the winter, so.
No, cool.
I don't know if it's the same topic, do we have digital controllers for heat in here that are timed out during the day, like turns the heat off? turns
Oh,
the
we
heat on?
turn it off.
We turn it down, so when we get done today, Holly turns it down to 55 in here.
And I, just to let you know, I don't turn it up to 50, turn it up to 57 when I'm in here
And is
working.
that, it's just a standard force air furnace?
Yeah.
In here? Do we wanna look into getting digital control so you can do that from phone? I mean, and a timer, so it does it every day?
Oh, we don't need this turned up every day, though, we only
No.
turn it up when the meeting seems to. So
When the
this
meetings
part,
are-
and
yeah.
then
But even your.
Our offices,
so it
Yeah,
turns
our
on at
offices
night.
are two different thermostats.
we turn it up
Oh,
when we
okay.
come.
So you have several different thermostats in it? Okay.
Yeah, there's one that controls this room and one that controls the offices and stuff. And, that one, we turn it up when we get here, or if you're only gonna be here a little while, we don't.
Yeah, I usually don't turn it up.
And then we turn it down before we leave, we don't
Well, I
need
think
anything
three of them,
fancy.
I don't know if you could do three in one furnace anyway, so.
My office stays warmer than hers,
Yeah.
I usually shut my vents in mine, so.
I usually
It
know when
works.
it's time to go home. My 3 hours are up because my nose gets cold.
Okay, next one. Mail. This one, my idea behind, for discussion purposes, is, I know we have the slot to take in for mail, that sort of thing, or just people dropping off taxes, ballots, whatever. The room is locked.
If you're hoping to have the mail put in there, you cannot. If you're hoping to have the mail in,
Okay.
you cannot do that. It's,
Cindy?
Yeah.
I called the post office, and on this route, if they have to get out of the vehicle and walk to drop the mail in the drop box, it's not allowed. So ours is roadside only.
So do we have
We have a mailbox across the
a
road.
mailbox across?
But mail-in ballots, that gets an issue where it's sitting in there.
But she checks, you check
I
it
check
every
it
day,
every
or you-
morning.
Check
or
it
every
out.
evening.
Okay.
She goes by about 11-ish or something.
I go
12.
by.
Well,
I
she
go
goes by all the
over
time,
Yeah.
but the mail
I
lady.
have 6 times I'm going past this building.
Okay.
So usually my last time past the building is around 4:15, and I pull up and check the mail quick. But again, with the ballots and stuff, at that point, we might either wanna consider a lockbox, cause I'm not having stuff sent to my house, number one. Number two, it's ending up costing too much money, because now we have a bunch of envelopes that we have to, yeah, so we're keeping them. I'm just putting sticky labels over, but there's no sense. So we can either do a PO box up there at the post office for the ballots, or we can eventually put a lockbox in.
A lockbox, like a mailbox that locks, is only
Yeah.
one way.
Right.
It seems like the.
But again, you play with keys then. So, I mean, I don't know, whatever, I don't know how much, well, I've got, Wendy had done some information on lockboxes.
Okay.
You're looking at about $150. And again, you could put a lockbox in, but then we need to make sure that we're doing something with the post. Cause they were talking about in Winfield. If you put a lockbox in, those are great, lock it, but somebody can come saw the post off. If, you know, so we're gonna have to do something that's gonna keep that, pardon me.
Do that, that's pretty.
Well,
I could give it to the welding department at the.
There you
Career
go.
Center. Bill us an indestructible mailbox.
So, like I said, right now it is, you know, fine, and again, I don't know how many people, when they do the ballot, they can also be aware that they can accept it through, I know we put ours, my husband's, we just put it in 'cause I was a little crazy about the mailbox stuff, so.
The taxes come to my house, and obviously that mailbox is checked every day, so. We're getting I think we have almost everything switched over to this mailbox, so it's not going to Rhonda's, and Rhonda has been really good about dropping it in the slot, the stuff, cause about every day
Mhm.
we get a few things, and she's gonna get a lot of junk mail, because Charlene still gets junk mail.
I bet you
He
keep it.
probably does.
Okay, that's,
New purchases, new purchases.
you wanna finish? She wants to finish.
I want this one.
36.
Oh.
Let's go.
New purchase?
We need a phone with an answering machine. The phone we have now, and I asked Amy if that was unneeded, and she's,
You can't push the buttons, her phone. I have an old one with a cord on it. It doesn't have an answer machine, but I can push my buttons. Hers,
and I
you
can't
can't push the buttons.
And, yeah, if you don't hit when you play the message, if you don't hit that button before it goes to, just starts, go to the next, you've got 20 messages on the machine, and you literally, there's been times I've erased one because I hit it like 1 millisecond. So, the sound is awful, the keys don't push properly, it's an awful phone system.
So on our school, and I don't know, our school, my phone goes directly to email. So every person goes straight to the email and it says from this caller, and then it's in your email, so you don't even have to be here to check voicemails.
Can I talk to your?
I don't know, I can get Ian I can ask Ian, obviously won't be until January, so the first week of school we go back.
Yeah,
but-
Benny might, well, that was something else, like I said, I wanted to check with him, because if our phone bill's $130, if I could somehow figure out how to get it with the computer, like I said, I'm using that Google, call right now. So I wanna talk with him,
Yeah.
see if we have an option, cause that's $130 less a month than we would have to pay. And it is a problem. I have to come up here every day and check the
Right,
phones.
so that email thing, that would be perfect for you then, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah, I can talk to Ian, I can actually I'll call him over the holiday and see what he has to say about it, see how he's.
That would be awesome. But yes, we do need some type of phone situation handled here.
And so then, that one's more a research, part of what
Yeah.
this one was is, I know with money coming in from the state, like at the school, we have to keep this list of what did you purchase? Tables, do we have like an
Yeah, there's
inventory?
it's probably on Holly's computer, there should be a fixed asset, there should be a fixed asset list.
Oh, you know what, there is, I found it today. I don't know where it's at, but I'll find it again.
I was thinking that's something that we should probably be aware of and keep in mind.
Cause that's something you have to have for the auditor too when we get.
Okay, that one then more just discussion, not so much. So we are on to public comment.
I have one question first.
Oh.
Last meeting, I asked to have my money deferred for the special meeting, I still want that done. I know I paid for this meeting, I believe I can do that.
I don't know if I can.
Okay.
From what I've been trying to find out about it and reading, you have to pay it.
Okay.
But you can do what you want with it. So, but it does have to be paid,
So I could donate it to the hall.
or to another cause or whatever, but yes, because they have to be able to show, it's a contracted amount, we have to be able to show that.
So public comment, yes ma'am.
Chris Baldwin, Douglas. Cindy, I just wanna make sure that you understand and know, I'm sure you do, that you don't have to get a motion for every question. You're the supervisor. You are, chartered to make any decisions with that attorney, or not decisions, but ask any questions that you think are pertinent and timely, but you don't have to. You know that, right? I just wanna make sure that you don't have to make a motion for every question. if you guys have some, or if you have something that needs to be brought, that's what the supervisor is charged with.
Thank you.
And then the other thing is, not to be a dead horse, but if an attorney doesn't get back with you, that sends up a red flag to me, even though I think those other attorneys are very good. I just wouldn't want to have an attorney that took a week to get back and still hasn't. Because if you had something very pertinent, you know, that you had to have an answer for, and they didn't get back, then I think they've eliminated themselves. That's it.
Brandy Bunting, Douglas Township. A couple things, after the insurance was FOIA'd a year ago, unless it's changed in a year, I actually had 2 attorneys look at it, and they were not insurance attorneys, but they said things along the lines of, there's a non-monetary defense cost coverage of $2 million per suit and an injunctive relief coverage of $2 million in the aggregate, and they went on from there. They told me what they thought of it. Long story short, they both said, you guys need to know what's in that policy. So you need to have the attorney, and I would actually definitely have Foster Swift look at it, because they're the experts in this renewable energy. That's the hot topic right now. That's what you guys could get in trouble for, or you have this issue with. You need to ask Foster Swift, is what's in this insurance policy good enough? And they also said you need to, well, first of all, you can start with your insurance people. They'll talk to you. They won't talk to anyone else, but they'll talk to you guys, tell you what the things mean, what the riders do. You need to know about the disclosures, the endorsements. Usually there's an indemnification, if I said that word right, when a suit is brought to and overturned and there's a claim. You guys just need to know these terms and these things and extra things that are part of it. And they said you absolutely need to have the expert attorney look at the policy and make sure everything's in there that you need to have in there and covering you guys. And you can have the attorney work with your insurance, or you can work with the insurance or whatever, but that's absolutely something you guys need to check into. And I never saw anything about 5 million, but 2 million is it was on page 9 or something like that is what they said. But anyway, so that's my first thing. Second thing is, yeah, in this day and age, you guys don't even need a landline phone anymore. I've used Google Call. I used it for work for quite a while. I think it even has a voicemail with it. I know Teams at work, we do all of our calling through Teams. We don't even have a phone anymore. It's all done through the computer. It goes to your voicemail and everything like that. It would save you, I mean, even if it costs up to the same amount as your phone bill, you wouldn't have to replace another phone, and it'd be so much more convenient for all of you guys to have that, have your own number. Google Call I've used, it's free. And I just want to second what Chris said here about Cindy absolutely needs to be able to, it's great that she asked the questions, and you guys had awesome questions for her, but you know, as our elected supervisor, she needs the freedom to be able to ask anything pertinent of the attorney as it comes up. I mean, even as we went through the agenda here, other things came up, like, and some of it can be asked of the township, like the Zoom stuff. You know, what can we do with Zoom? Can people on Zoom ask questions during public comment? Can they not? How many people? What happens if we go over? You know, those are things that can be asked of the Township Association, but even questions of the attorney, you guys are new, and there's gonna be things that are gonna come up between now and the January 4th meeting that you need to have answers for. You can't really run an effective, efficient meeting. So I would say on behalf of the citizens, I'd ask that you do ask pertinent questions that are necessary and represent us in that way. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes.
Kathy Craig, Douglas Township. I just want to thank you guys for all the time that you're putting into learning new things and the trainings that you're doing. It's very much appreciated on behalf of the work that you're doing for the township. I have a couple things to circle back to as far as ordinances going back to the PC. The first one on the wind, that just remember that, not that you know this, so whatever, but if it goes back to the PC or not, it still winds up in front of you at the end of the day. And remember that the people voted against having an ordinance that allowed 500-foot turbines. That needs to be lowered significantly. People really don't want turbines that tall, anywhere near that tall. The setbacks from the river, they don't want it anywhere 600 feet from the river. Those have to be increased. The sound has to be lowered, and people don't want shadow flicker. The hundreds of people that I've spoken to in the process of doing the referendum the last couple of months, people really don't want industrial scale turbines here. So anything that you're going to do for changes really has to reflect that. and they want nowhere near 500 foot. And on the solar, I was just looking today on the website about solar. I think it was 2019 that the solar ordinance was put together, and there's 3 different levels of solar. One is the residential, one's commercial, and then one's more the industrial. The commercial and the industrial have 100-foot setbacks from the front and rear of property lines to the non-participating property lines, but they only have 10-foot setbacks from the sides. And the 14-foot height at full tilt is part of that solar ordinance. So I think that it probably does need to be looked at again, because in the last couple of years, lots of information's come out about the pros and cons of solar. So they have a 10-foot setback from a property line with 14-foot panels that would really impede somebody who is not participating in a solar project. So if you send it back, I think solar is worth looking at again. So those 2 things there. And again, thank you for all of your time and efforts.
Thank you, Kathy.
Anyone else tonight? Yes.
The question that I had is, you guys are gonna vote on, I'm sorry, Christy Williams, 1990 West Cleese Road, Douglas Township. Wondering, at the next meeting, are you going to announce, the PC replacements? As your deadline was tomorrow to turn them in.
Have we had, we've had some applications, so.
Yes, we have had applications. I can't answer that right now, I don't know. Work time. Anything else? Yes.
Hi, Sarah Beachy, 4828 Hunter's Trail. When you guys are renting out the hall, are you making sure that whoever rents it has some kind of endorsement on their insurance to cover liability?
No, it's, I mean, they're
Most
using it.
places require an umbrella policy.
I'm sorry?
Most places that rent out require an umbrella policy for whoever's renting.
Right, there should be an endorsement on their homeowners or their renter's policy that would cover them here if they damage something.
Lit on fire.
Yes. Or
Or
get
if they
hurt,
got hurt, yeah,
Yes.
that's the worst one.
so that they don't come back on you.
Slip on the ice.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
Linda Reynolds, I want to thank you for setting the tables like this. I think it helps the hearing impaired a whole lot better. Even when they were close, he still struggled with it. This helps him a little bit, so thank you for that. What I've noticed in other townships, when they have positions available and they're going to appoint or whatever, I kind of liked it. They would have the people that's running maybe stand up and say a little bit about themselves, introduce themselves and say, I'm Joe Blow and I do this, and I would like to be in this position because I found that kind of neat. They did it at Montcalm. Cato, they didn't give them the opportunity. And Cato also had in one of theirs that if somebody's applying, yet they're not there at that board meeting, doesn't show that they're that interested, so they automatically threw those out.
Anything else tonight? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.